All right, let's dive in. Today, we're cracking open a really fascinating document, the 2025 to 2028 Development Plan for Killinchy Primary School. We're going to see exactly how a modern school maps out its own future.
And right away, you can see this isn't just a dry document full of numbers. It's built on a bedrock of trust. I mean, just look at this feedback from a parent survey. That's the foundation for everything else.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll get the lay of the land, the school's backstory. Then we'll dig into the 4 big pillars of their strategy, and finally, we'll see how it all clicks together.
All right, first up, the blueprint. So you gotta ask, why this massive 3-year plan and why now?
Man, the school has been on quite a ride. I mean, look at this timeline. They go from getting top marks in an inspection to getting totally knocked off course by the pandemic and everything that followed. So this new plan, it's not just some nice-to-have document. It's an absolutely essential course correction.
Okay, so let's get into the first pillar. And what's so interesting is where they start. It's not with grades or test scores, it's with well-being. The core idea here is simple but powerful. People, both kids and adults, have to feel safe and supported before they can even think about learning.
And this isn't just talk. The plan makes a direct line between the well-being of the staff and the success of the students. They're doing real practical things, like putting a national agreement in place to keep workloads manageable and bringing in pros to do resilience training. Basically, they're supporting their teachers so their teachers can support the kids.
And this is where things get really interesting. You see this huge philosophical shift in how they handle behavior. They're moving away from just, reacting when something goes wrong. Instead, they're building a whole proactive culture, inspired by this guy, Paul Dix. The idea is brilliant. When the adults change, everything changes. It puts the focus on what the staff can do to shape a positive environment from the get-go.
And that's the perfect setup for the next part, because once you've built that stable, positive foundation, now you've got the space to do the heavy lifting. Which brings us to Pillar 2, a complete and ambitious overhaul of the curriculum.
Now, this isn't some decree from on high. You can see here, it's a super clear step-by-step process that involves everyone. They're basically picking up the curriculum work that got sidetracked during the pandemic and making sure everyone has a say in updating it.
And you know what's driving this? Real data. Take a look at this. They noticed that spelling scores took a dip, but not just anywhere, specifically in year 3. So instead of guessing, they had hard evidence. And that's what gave them the clear green light to bring in a new, consistent spelling program for the whole school. Smart, right?
And they're just as smart when it comes to new tech. Instead of just rolling out a brand new digital homework system for everyone at once, which, let's be honest, can be a disaster, they're starting small, a little trial run, to get feedback from everyone, kids, teachers, parents, before they go all in.
Okay, Pillar 3. This is where the plan really zooms in, focusing on meeting the needs of every single student, especially those with special educational needs, or SEN.
This chart kind of gives you the big picture of the SEN profile at the school. And while the total number is actually below the regional average, here's the kicker. The number of kids with the most complex needs, the ones with formal statements, has skyrocketed by 425% in just 9 years. That's a huge change.
So, with that kind of complexity, the school's SEN coordinator, Mrs. Leckie, and her team had to ask a really fundamental question.
And that question led to a massive change. They're ditching the old, formal, teacher-driven plans. The ones that are often written about the child, not with them. And they're creating these new pupil-friendly IEPs. It sounds simple, but it's a game changer. It puts the child's own voice, their own opinions, right at the heart of their own learning.
All right, on to the final pillar. This one's all about the nuts and bolts, the leadership and organization, the systems that make sure the whole school runs like a well-oiled machine. So, what does that mean in practice? Well, it's about getting the fundamentals right. They're doing a full audit of all their policies, they're modernizing how they keep records, like digitizing parent-teacher notes, and they're even teaming up with other local schools to find better ways to track how students are doing.
And check this out. They're not just sticking with what they've always done. They're actually testing out a brand new adaptive assessment system. That means the test actually changes based on the student's answers. It gets harder if they're doing well, easier if they're struggling. The goal isn't just to get a score, but to get really rich data that shows teachers exactly where a student might need a little extra help.
So, okay, we've looked at all 4 pillars. What happens when you put them all together? Well, you don't just get 4 separate plans. You get one single, powerful strategy for the whole school.
And this is the key. These pillars aren't separate things working in isolation. They're all connected. Think about it. Investing in staff well-being in Pillar 1 is what makes it possible for those same teachers to take on the huge task of a curriculum review in Pillar 2. And the new tech skills they learn in Pillar 2, that helps them with the new digital record keeping in Pillar 4. See, it all feeds into each other.
So when you step back and look at the whole thing, what do you really see? You see this incredible blueprint for how a school can really thoughtfully plan for its future. It's proactive, not reactive. It's driven by actual evidence, it's collaborative, and most importantly, it puts the kids right at the center of everything. It's just a really solid, sustainable way of thinking.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. What does it really take to build the future of education? This plan from Killinchy Primary gives us a pretty amazing answer. It's not about finding some single magic solution. It's about a deep commitment to listening, to preventing problems before they start, and a powerful belief that if you support your people first, everything else will follow.